What up, though? Welcome to Verse. I am your host, Jay the Gentleman. When I tested positive for COVID-19 earlier this week, I had some chest congestion and a cough. I thought I'd take a couple of days vacation, watch some TV, and shit would just go back to normal. By day 3, I was down bad. I was going through. So much of Black gay life is about being with people. Brunch, Bulldogs, Sunday Fun Day, MLK Weekend, Pride, cruises, cabin trips. It made me wonder, when we don't have any of that, who are we? I asked Hakim Asadi of Beyond Living, does Black gay culture sufficiently equip us to deal with being alone? Full disclosure, I felt like shit doing this interview, but it was important to me to experience all of that because I know if I'm feeling alone, somebody else out there is feeling alone. Check this out.
I think I'll answer it in a different way. I think it's an invitation for people to gain the tools to be able to be alone and be by themselves. I think what a large part of this is, it has an emphasis on community and connection and those things. And I think what it kicked up for a lot of people is that we don't really have a lot of meaningful connections. It's the meaningful connections that what we're longing for and what we're yearning for. But I think this pandemic, the COVID-19, has highlighted and put an emphasis on things that we don't really have those things, like family or friends that when I am sick, I can actually call and we can have that connection. I think that's what we're longing for. It is challenging because there's a level of vulnerability there that I don't think many of us lean into.
Like vulnerability, what, in developing those relationships and friendships?
Absolutely.
Or what?
That's the only way that they're going to form. That's how we get to those deep and meaningful relationships, is practicing vulnerability. But if I get met with your costumes, we only have a relationship based on the costume, based on these defense mechanisms, based on, clubbing, right? We have our clubbing friends, but then when we try to cross them over into deep and meaningful friends, we realize that we can't really trust them.
What really made me sad is just thinking about how many of us are like struggling through the alone components of this. Cause shit got lonely for me. Like, I can only sit at home and watch TV and just be like, fuck the world for so long. Eventually I'm like, I want somebody to like hold me and touch me and whatnot. I can't do that because COVID, but because I know you deal with a lot of us in your practice and Beyond Living. You deal with a lot of us leaning into authenticity, leaning into ourselves. Why do you think we're faced with such a great opportunity to become vulnerable? Is there something about our experience that just says don't be vulnerable?
No, I think it's a challenge of how we see ourselves. And much of how we see ourselves is dependent on how others see us. This is where we have to unpack and lean into our authentic self and really accept who we really are. But a lot of us don't like ourselves. And so if I don't like me, then I have to present the ideal me, the one that I fantasize about, the one that I like. This is who I want to be, and this is who people are going to accept. And these are the things that people are going to like. These characteristics that are not really mine, but I present them to be. And I think that's where the challenge is, because when we're alone, we're with ourselves. Have you ever sat next to somebody that you don't like?
Yes.
You don't like it.
Sometimes I'm on this sofa right here, sitting by myself, and I'm like, nigga, shut the fuck up. That's what I be thinking to myself about myself. But yes, I've definitely been there.
But even with like the company, right? You choose who you're around, because if you don't like somebody, you're not going to be around them. Mm-hmm. So when I don't like myself, or I don't like these things about myself, or these characteristics about myself, I present and have this ideal self that makes it more comfortable, more palatable for myself to be like, to hang around myself. But when we're sick, when we have the pandemic and we really can't connect to anybody, we're literally with our real selves.
I think I'm pretty much a homebody. After I paid off my furniture, I was pretty proud to stay my black ass at home, sit my black ass on my sofa, and watch my TV that can't nobody take away from me. But when we're stuck at home, there's only so much Netflix and Disney Plus you can watch. Eventually, I started to realize that I was feeling things like loneliness and isolation. We did a poll on fullyverse.com that said that 68% of us are feeling more alone during the pandemic. I was thinking, no shit. But more than half of those said they don't know how to overcome those feelings. Hakim is about to tell us what loneliness is and why so many of us are feeling it. But he says that overcoming loneliness first starts with self. Check this out.
There's a few things that serve as that invitation. Your triggers, your emotions. Those are two things that we tend to suppress and run away from. But those are two things that give us insight on who we are and what's going on. Because if we look at our emotional experiences and not necessarily judge them, not conflate them to the it being the sum total of everything, but sitting as the witness and observing them of, I'm feeling this. The next question is, okay, what do I need? If we break down loneliness, that's just being alone with unwanted emotions. Sad, unhappy. Go ahead.
Light bulbs just went off. Loneliness is being alone with unwanted emotions. Like, did that just come up to you off the top of your head? That is so fucking good. Loneliness is just being alone with unwanted emotions. That is great. Okay, keep going. So you said triggers 1st,
Mm-hmm.
and then needs,
Mm-hmm.
and then.
So that's where we ask the question, because if I'm looking at and thinking about my emotional experiences, let's say sad and unhappy. If we break down sad and unhappy, why am I sad? Why am I unhappy? And then what do I need? That's where journaling comes into play, because it allows us to look at our subconscious narratives that we don't really pay attention to. So why am I feeling sad? What is kicking up for me that it's bringing me to this feeling of sadness or unhappy? And it goes back to what we talked about originally. I don't have deep and meaningful relationships. And so now the question is, what do I need? I need to form deep and meaningful relationships. Next question is, okay, so how do I do that? I practice vulnerability and take risks with people that I can trust, we have similar values. I gotta look at my roster of friends and say, okay, so do we meet each other on the values and the love and the appreciation? Is it reciprocated? Is it, do I feel safe? And then we take the risk and going deeper and forming more meaningful relationships.
When we're feeling those moments of loneliness, Hakim says, feel it. Check in with yourself and ask, what are my triggers and emotions? What do I need? And then how do I achieve those feelings? I needed to talk mine through. Whatever you need, you owe it to yourself to find it. That was our show. I put together a whole playlist chronicling my COVID journey. Click here to check it out. Stop by fullyverse.com/merch to get your Versus Folk sweatshirt. It's the best way to support what we do here. And be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button to never miss another line item on the Black Gay Agenda. I am Jay the Gentleman. This is Verse. I'll see you next time.